So being able to turn cold prospects into paying clients is the most consistent way to generate wealth online. And that is exactly what we're going to learn how to do inside of today's class. To close prospects into 5 and even 7-figure deals for your agency through a simple Zoom call. Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, because this is our second implementation class of the Agency Accelerator Week. And this one is going to be taught by Josh, who is your instructor inside of the sales phase of Agency Accelerator. Now, Josh, alongside his business partner, Matt, who also teaches in this phase, have over 350 active clients in their agency. He has simply mastered the art of selling clients into agency services. And if you too master this skill, money will never be a problem in your life ever again. So today, Josh is going to run you through the exact process that he uses in his own agencies to close cold prospects and turn them into paying clients. He's going to first give you the 30,000-foot overview of the sales process, and then he's going to deep dive into each one of the phases of the sales process and walk you through what you need to do on each. And with that, you're going to be able to close agency clients into $500, $2,000, $5,000, and even upwards of $10,000 a month retainers. So, with no further ado, let's get into it.
Hello everyone. Welcome to our next module, a brief overview of the full sales process. Now that we've gone through the full sales process in depth, I really want to give you a brief overview of everything we covered to give you a different perspective and try to simplify everything for you. This simple framework was actually made by the sales savage, Elias Castaneda, and I look forward to sharing it with you. This is always a framework that we want to keep top of mind when running through a sales process, whether it's a 1-call or a 2-call close. That being said, I want to be very clear. This is the framework and my script, meaning you leverage a framework I'm teaching you, but build your own script around it. I don't mind you taking the script right off the bat just to get a jump start, but over time, you're gonna need to iterate. The way I word questions might be very different from the way you word questions. And that being said, let's dive in. In stage 1, we find intent. In stage 2, we break down the situation. In stage 3, we pinpoint the problem, all on that first intro call. Stage 4, we exhaust solutions. In stage 5, we explore desires. In stage 6, we uncover consequences. And in stage 7, we pitch. Just to break down each step briefly here, in stage 1, the beginning of the intro call, we always want to find the intent of the prospect and figure out why they scheduled a call. After this, on the intro call, we break down the situation, meaning we get clarity on exactly what they're doing now in the business. Then that leads us to pinpoint the problem and gives us a chance to probe on that problem, making it very clear to the prospect and get them to tell themselves what they're struggling with. After this, we obviously tie down on the intro call to ensure the prospect shows up to the demo call with all partners. Now, we're on to the demo call. We want to redo stage 3 to bring that pain top of mind and reprobe. In stage 4, we exhaust all solutions. Remember, ideal buying criteria. We seek to understand what they've tried in the past to get their ideal buying criteria. Also can pre-handle the burnt objection. In stage 5, we look to explore their desires. This is a goal stage of the demo, where we not only get their financial goals, but more importantly, get their personal and emotional goals. In between stage 5 and 6, we bring them to reality. Remember, it's very important to ask them how far they are from their goals currently. We need to build that gap. The issue I see with a lot of salespeople is they try to rip them from their goals, euphoria, all the way down to ramifications immediately. It's too abrupt, right? Goals, reality, consequence. And that brings us to stage 6. We uncover their consequences of not making a change in their business and what it means for them personally. Then we get to the buy-in and transition into stage 7, which is a pitch. Now, let's break down each stage in depth. In each of these stages, I'll break down the intentions, success conditions, and stage questions. Let's dive in. Stage 1, finding intent. The intentions of the stage are to find out what the prospect is looking to accomplish by booking onto your calendar. The second intention is to find a time when you can advance the conversation and book in the next call. The success conditions. Sound as conversational as possible. Don't sound scripted. Be laid back, conversational, almost as if you're speaking with a good friend. Another success condition is when you're calling a lead that hasn't booked an intro call yet, they just opted into your funnel, then we're gonna have to start the conversation with a clear intention to get an advancement in the sales process. An example would be, and by the way, this isn't just for an opt-in, it could be a cold call as well. So an example would be finding out when they have 5 to 10 minutes to speak with you to conduct the intro call. Another success condition is when we're calling for a pre-scheduled intro call on the calendar, then we're going to set a neutral frame where we find out what they're doing now in regards to what you're helping them with and what they might have tried in the past and what they might be looking for just to see if you can help. Another success condition is we want to express certainty and authority in our tonality. We always want to somewhat match their energy. You're never gonna do well if someone gets on the call, they're super energetic, speaking really fast, and you're really monotone. You need to match their energy. Now, what are some stage questions for finding intent? On an inbound call from ads, you would say, this lead books onto your calendar. You'd say, hey, Dan, how's it going? How are you today? Yeah, this is John from XYZ company. You had scheduled a call for this time? You still have a quick 10 minutes for a call here today? Prospect answers. Cool. So for these first calls, we typically find out what you're doing now in regards to getting new appointments, clients, deals each month, and maybe explore what you've been trying in the past and also find out what you might be looking for just to see if we can help. And then from there, if it makes sense, we can set up a call on Zoom to walk you through our system. That sound good to you? Well, it looks like you actually responded to our email or ad or our DM, right? You want to choose one, whichever one they respond to. I guess anything in particular that made you want to book the call here today? If they give a really vague answer, you want to say, okay, that makes sense, man. But what were you maybe hoping the outcome would be from booking into my calendar today? If it's still a really vague answer, you want to say, okay, sure. Well, in that case, would you mind sharing with me what you're doing now in regards to XYZ, what you've done in the past, and also what you might be looking for, just so I can see if we can even help in the first place? Finding intent. That's for an inbound call. I'm about to transition to an outbound call and handling gatekeepers. Before I do that, I want to make it very clear. And you might be thinking, Josh, why did the script change when you're going over your intro script to this overview? Well, guys, it's about understanding why you ask the questions. You can ask the questions in a million different ways. So when you look at my intro script, and then you look at this framework here, you can pull the questions that you like, and you can piece together your intro script like a Lego. You just need to understand that we're trying to find intent of the prospect, and you can craft the questions from there because we've given you so many questions to choose from already. I really want to do this for you guys because I think it gives you perspective. If I gave you just one script, you would just stick to that script and only ask those questions, but you never truly understand why you're asking them. Now, for an outbound call, like a cold call, you need to learn how to handle gatekeepers. So an example of this would be you're calling a dental office and the front desk lady picks up. Now, this would be a quick script for an outbound, specifically if you send an outbound email or possibly an outbound DM. You're gonna start the conversation by saying, hey, Naeem, not sure if you can help me with this or not. I actually had an email or a DM come from XYZ account or username. Would you be the best person to speak with about bringing in some new patients? Or does someone else in the back office handle that? If they're a gatekeeper, they'll say, yeah, the business owner handles all of that. They're not in right now. I can take your information and have them email you. Then you can say, okay, sounds good. What's the best number to contact XYZ decision maker at? If they don't want to give it to you, you want to give them your best callback number, name, and email, and ask them. And I guess just wondering here, would they usually be in the office towards the earlier parts of the days, or are they usually freed up towards the evening? Just by asking that one question, they'll tell you can then follow up at the time they mentioned they'll be free at. So you can just go ahead and call at that time. All right, now we're gonna go over booking an intro from a positive reply on a cold call. We want to get an advancement in the sales process and ask them if they'd be available for a quick 5 to 10 minute call if not available on that specific call. All right, so how do you conduct a conversation with someone that replies to your DM or a cold email and you actually get the decision maker on the call? Well, just remember, we want to get an advancement in the sales process and ask them if they're available now or if they'd be available for a quick 5 to 10 minute call, or ask them when they would be available for a quick 5 to 10 minute call. Hey, name, how's it going? How are you today? Prospect answers. Great, yeah, it's just Josh here. You replied back to my assistant's email or my assistant's DM about getting 10 new patients in 10 days as a test drive. Insert offer, right? I was just calling to see when you'd have 5 or 10 minutes later today or this week to ask a few questions here, just to see if a potential partnership would make sense. Okay, I got tomorrow at 2 p.m. They say something like that. Okay, perfect. And what would be the best email to send that calendar invite to? And then the best number for text confirmation? Guys, if they have 10 minutes now, just go into the first question of your intro script, finding intent. Okay, great. So just out of curiosity, was there anything that sparked your interest in your email that made you want to reply back? You see what we did there, guys? It doesn't matter if it's a second call after the cold call, meaning you set up an intro call from that initial cold call. Hey, what kind of attracted your attention to actually schedule another call from us from our last call? You need to gauge your intent at the beginning of the call, or from a DM, or from an outbound email. I know there's some really good resources in this course for outbound email, so this is how you handle positive replies. All right, now to stage 2. Break down the situation. Where we are at this point in the sales process. Well, we've clarified their intention for the conversation. They've expressed to us what they want to accomplish by speaking with us today. The intentions for the stage. Well, they want to find out what they're doing right now to solve the goal they gave you in stage 1. Another intention for the stage is get them to understand their current situation. Most people don't understand their own situation. They don't think about it enough. Nobody asks them the right questions. That's where you're so needed as a salesperson. Success conditions of the stage. Think about these questions as quick, rapid-fire questions. We don't want to take too long asking situational questions. We also don't want to dive too deep into the problems in the stage. We just want to get some preliminary information. Number 3 is we don't want to come across like we're interrogating the prospect. Imagine if you're speaking to a billionaire at a networking event. You want to use genuine, curious tone. How long could you go before they actually walk away? It should not be an interrogation. Only ask 3 to 4 of these types of questions so it doesn't sound like you're absolutely grilling them. Again, guys, quick and easy question. How many deals are you doing a month? What's your lead generation? Easy questions just to understand where they're at. How many patients do you have coming in the door every month? Something like that, right? More specific stage questions. Okay, so right now, how are you currently insert what they're doing now? Generating leads, for example. Again, an example would be, okay, so right now, how are you currently bringing in new patients? If you're working with doctors and if the prospect told you that they want new patients in the find intent stage. Another question you could ask is, okay, how many, for example, patients are you seeing coming in per month off of that on average? They'll answer, clarify in a question tone. Okay, and that's the average to confirm. Again, we just want to understand where they're at. Stage 3, pinpointing the problem. Okay, where are we at in the sales process? The prospect has told us a rough idea of where they're at and the intention for the call. The more specific the answers that they've given, the more intent the prospect has had. Essentially, in stage 1, guys, we found out about their intent. In stage 2, we figured out their situation by asking specific questions, rapid fire. And now we're on to stage 3, which is finding the pain, which is the most important. The intentions for the stage, like I just mentioned, are uncovering the surface level problem and then uncovering the underlying problem. Another really good way to probe here is finding 2 or 3 areas of their business or life that have been impacted by these problems. Some success conditions in this stage would be understanding that we can't sell them a $1,000 to $10,000 solution if they don't have a problem. Another success condition would be finding the gap, aka the difference between where they are right now and the pain that's not allowing them to get where they want to go. The third success condition in this stage is finding the true under the surface problem, not just the surface level one. An example of a surface level problem is I have knee pain. Under the surface, I'm frustrated, annoyed, and unsure when I'll feel better. Surface level is inconsistency in lead flow or deal volume. Under the surface is lack of revenue to pay bills, doubt in oneself to run the business properly, frustration, FOMO of seeing other friends that aren't successful, not hitting their goals in a timely manner. Success condition number 4, once we have a clear problem that we've been able to pinpoint, we always want to put a time horizon on that problem. Time will always increase the awareness in the prospect's mind on how long they've been dealing with this issue for. And important to note, tonality with your delivery of these questions is key. You always want to display a childlike curiosity. Really focus on being detached from the sale and just be genuinely curious. You always want to listen twice, speak once. Another good frame to put yourself in is the old man at the gas station. Imagine a super old man with a walking cane at a gas station, and he walks up to you asking for directions. There's no way to be mean to this guy. He's just genuinely curious and looking for a solution. That's the same frame you want to take when asking questions to your prospect. It should either be a childlike curiosity or an old man type of curiosity. Just be genuinely curious. Some stage questions for this phase are, in that lead generation tactic you're using to get clients, are you currently satisfied with it? Oh, you are? Perfect. What do you like about it? Is there anything else? Transition to 2 truths question. Well, it seems like things are going fairly well for you already. You're currently doing XYZ and it's getting you ABC result. I guess, is there anything you would change about your current way of actually getting more leads? It seems like things are going fairly well. Is there anything you would change about possibly the quality or volume of leads you're currently getting inbound for your business? If they say they would change something or they give you a problem, you want to ask some clarifying questions, which we've gone over in the previous intro script. What exactly do you mean by that? Or how do you mean by that? Or in what way though? Or inconsistency? Or when you said XYZ, I guess what did you mean by that? Another really good question to ask here after you've clarified what their pain is, again, timeline. How long have you felt this way for? What do you think caused you to have XYZ problem? Has this been the main impact to the growth of your operation? How so? Another really good question to ask here, as you remember from the success conditions, is 2 to 3 parts of their business or life that have specifically impacted them. So you can ask them, has this been the main impact to the growth of your operation? They might think, kinda. Specifically, what are a few things that have been impacted in the business or possibly for you personally because you've been dealing with XYZ pain point? Guys, when you ask those specific questions, it ignites a specific point in the business or their life that causes them a lot of pain. What's interesting about sales is the more you can get the prospect to think about more specific things in the business in the past, specific issues that have happened, a memory will always induce an emotion. So we want them to think back to things specifically that have gone wrong because they've been dealing with this problem. All right, we're in stage 4, exhausting solutions. We like to call this our ideal buying criteria stage, right? In our script. We also like to say that we check off the doubt belief in this stage, right? For the burnt objection. Let's go over where we're at this point in the sales process. The prospect has told us a rough idea of what they're looking to accomplish by speaking with us. The more specific the answers, the more intent the prospect has. And that's for stage 1. In stage 2, they told us about their current situation in the business. And now in stage 3, we finally found our problem that we probed super deep into and have found a few different parts of the business or their life that are affected by this problem. Not just a surface level problem, but an underlying problem. And now we're on to stage 4. The intentions for the stage are find what other solutions they've explored in the past to solve the problems that we were able to pinpoint in stage 3. Number 2 is finding their ideal buying values. And number 3 is overcoming that burnt objection. Success conditions. Keep in mind, we do not want to use our own words and definitions for what we think their problem is. We want to use their words specifically. This is key. Huge thing in sales, guys. If someone's using a certain terminology, we always want to match their terminology. If someone's saying a bunch of cash, saying, oh, I make 10,000 cash a month, You never want to say 10,000 revenue. You want to say 10,000 cash. Always match their lingo and never specifically around the problem use their exact words that they told you. Because if you say something different, it might not resonate with them. They might think, oh, that's not what I said. I don't resonate with that. And then you're screwed. Always use their words. This is key. Number 2, understand the definition of a buying value, aka something that the prospect heavily feels like they need in their solution to get to their goals. You would find this in asking what they've tried in the past or asking what they've looked into in the past to solve this issue. You want to get all the things that they like and they don't like so we can use this on the pitch and presentation. All right, some stage questions. Okay, cool. So before speaking with me today, have you poked around at any other inbound solutions or outbound solutions to solve XYZ pain point? Oh, you have? What have you been doing? Or what did you look at? You can ask, how did it go? What did you like about their system? Anything else? Again, guys, always repro. It seems like you like them a good amount. What kind of prevented you from pulling the trigger? See how similar this is to our script, guys, that I presented to you in the intro call module? And if they say, I'm just exploring my options and they don't want to give you anything, ask the 3 ideal criteria question. Hey, what are like 3 ideal qualities that you look for in a lead generation partner to help you solve XYZ bottleneck? Another good question to ask is, so let's say we're sitting in your office right now, talking specifically about everything you would need from an agency. Talk me through what would be on that list. See, that's the same question. We're just trying to understand what they really want. If we did try something and did not get results, then we ask. The prospect answers, yeah, we tried XYZ company, but it just didn't really work out. You want to say, okay, got it. I guess, were there other realtors, doctors, industry, insert, that saw success that made you want to go with them in the first place? If they say no, well, then that's their answer. And they just didn't go with a trustworthy company. This isn't common, but these individuals more than likely got burnt. If they do say yes, which most of the time they do say yes, they say, okay, well, I guess what prevented you from seeing some results like they did? Keep exhausting all the options here. Okay, was there anything else you tried into besides that? Keep exhausting and taking them through the same framework as above until you've exhausted all of their previous solutions. So important, guys. We want to get all of this ammo so we can deploy it on the pitch and make sure we pre-handle the think about it objection. We need to check off the doubt belief. Stage 5, explore desires. So where are we at in the sales process? Well, in stage 1, we got what they're looking to accomplish, right? The intent. In stage 2, we got all of the situational questions very quickly. In stage 3, we pinpointed the specific problems, right? How that's impacted their business and their life specifically. In stage 4, we've exhausted all solutions, what they've tried in the past, what they liked, what they didn't like, and we pre-handled the burnt objection. Now we're on to stage 5, exploring their goals, exploring their desires. The intentions of the stage are uncovering their surface level revenue goals, which is a tangible outcome, but more importantly, uncovering what they'll do with that money when they get there, or what their business will do with that money when they scale. We really want to find the emotional driver behind the tangible outcome. Some success conditions of the stage are: the key is to getting deeper answers by just asking. We need to probe. Don't be afraid or think that's cringe to ask these questions. Another success condition is everyone has an end goal, no matter what niche or client you're speaking to. If you feel like the questions you're asking aren't landing, then it's because you aren't giving enough context. You aren't softening the question and you're not flowing A to Z down the script, and it's out of place. Remember, stay in the pocket here, guys. Another condition would be you must understand your market and niche. Find out what your clients typically do when they reach the heights of their business. Do they reinvest some money? Does this niche really like to pass on a legacy business to their family? Do a lot of these guys like to retire and automate the business so they can spend more time with the family? Do they like to exit their business for cash, to hang out on the beach, to sip pina coladas? Do some research on what the ideal life is for your client avatars so you aren't fumbling around in the stage. Remember, guys, we need to get euphoria here. We need to get their personal goals. Emotions are key. A good question one to ask is, so if there was a way to help out solving XYZ pain point, I guess in your ideal world, where would you guys like to take things in terms of monthly revenue? If the goal seems like too achievable and they're about to hit it, say, okay, got it. And to me, it sounds like hitting XYZ revenue goal is fairly achievable for you guys. I guess after hitting that though, what's the long-term goal? So after we get the revenue goal, we want to ask them the personal income question. How much personal income does that bring to you to the pocket? Another 20K a month. Okay. So 20K a month over the next year, I'm not a mathematician, but it's $240,000 of personal income over the next year. What does that do for you more personally? If they're giving you kickback, just so I can understand here, like everyone wants to reinvest back in their business and scale their business that way, but what's kind of your driving North Star here? They're still giving you kickback, tactical vulnerability. Open up about yourself and your personal goals, and then ask them double down again. You guys know how to do this. We went over it in the demo call module. Also, worst comes worst, you can always feed them. You can always say something like, well, when I speak with other clients, they like to build a legacy business for their family, or they want to exit this operation so they can go travel with their wife, or they want to continue building their operation so they can retire the family and make sure that they go on the different trips that they want to go on. So what's kind of the guiding North Star for you guys? You can feed them a little bit if you need to. Guys, don't feed if you don't have to. Stage 6, uncovering consequences. So where are we at this point in the sales process? So the prospect has told us a rough idea of what they're looking to accomplish by speaking with us, right? The intent. In stage 2, they've given us all their situational questions. In stage 3, we've pinpointed their pain specifically and really dug deep. In stage 4, we've exhausted all solutions, figuring out what they've liked in the past, what they haven't liked in the past, getting all their ideal criteria, overcoming the burnt objection. In stage 5, we dove deep into their desires and what their ideal state looks like if they're able to fix this bottleneck in their business. We got them as emotional as possible. In between stage 5 and 6, we brought them back to reality, which we like to talk about in our demo call module. And now for stage 6, uncovering consequences. Intentions for this stage. Explore the consequences of them not hitting their goals so that the pain associated with those consequences is far greater than just paying you the money for your service. Some success conditions for the stage. 1, we want to use either tactical vulnerability or analogies to give context before going into some deeper answers. We spoke about how to use tactical vulnerability and also even use an analogy like the little kid in the ice cream truck that we spoke about earlier. A big thing to keep in mind is that we don't want to immediately take someone from desire all the way to consequence. We need to ease them down by getting them to admit that with what they have in place now, they won't be able to hit their goals. Number 3 is we want to find answers that pull the prospect into committing to a change now in their business, instead of pushing it down for 3 to 6 to 12 months down the road. Some stage questions we ask are, okay, and so being as realistic as possible here, I'm just curious, with the channels you guys have in place, how long do you feel like it would take to get to the ideal goal that they mentioned, right? Reality question. The prospect answers, ask them, do you mind if I ask you more of a personal question? Then you could ask, what if you don't? They say, what do you mean? Give you a bad answer. What if you aren't able to scale to XYZ revenue mark, but more importantly, achieve XYZ emotional driver? Again, concerned, genuine tone. Guys, if they give you pushback here, we want to open up and use tactical vulnerability, right? Remember, in the analogy, there's 2 sides to every coin. The side that we're running towards and the side they're running away from. I find that in my own life, that I'm more motivated by what I'm running away from rather than what I'm running towards. So for example, for me, I really want to scale to 50K a month of personal income, but that's not what gets me up in the morning, gets me to do the shit that I really don't want to do. I know that getting to 50K a month allows me to take over my mom's mortgage and send her on the trip to Galapagos. But what's crazy is that it's not paying my mom's mortgage and sending her to the Galapagos that gets me going. It's the risk of not being able to do that for her. It's me thinking in my mind at the end of 2025, if I have to sit down at the dinner table and look my mom in the eyes and say, hey mom, I'm not gonna be able to cover your mortgage. I'm not going to be able to send you on that trip you've been wanting to go on. That's what would kill me, man. And that's what gets me going every single morning to do the stuff that I don't really want to do. So for you personally, let's explore failure for a second. What does that look like for you? Stay in the pocket here. Again, you guys know how to probe on this. Are you willing to sell for that? Why not? Another really good question to ask here is, it sounds like you've put a lot of thought into this. Was there a stack of events that led you to realize that you might maybe need some outside help with XYZ? Or was there one specific moment where you just drew your foot in the sand and said, you know what, I really should get help with solving this now? What was it that sparked it? Guys, you see how specific that was? I'm going to say that one more time. Or was there a specific moment where you just drew your foot in the sand and said, you know what, I really should get help with solving this now? What was it that sparked that? This is going to get them to think of a memory, which is going to spark emotion. Then you want to go for the buy-in. So to me, it sounds like it's time for a change possibly, to get into the right systems that will allow you to fix XYZ bottleneck so that you can be in the best spot possible to actually get to insert goal they mentioned. Let them answer. A good answer here is yeah, 100%. Then you want to say, okay, got it. Well, based off of what you've shared here, what we're doing could definitely work for you. If you're open to it, from here I can walk you through what we do. I'm sure you have some questions, and we can see if it's everything you need on your end. Sound good? Stage 7, the pitch. Now, where are we at in the sales process? Well, we've successfully taken our prospects through each of the stages. 90% of the work is done. And just to overview what we've gone through, we found intent, we've went through our situational questions, we've pinpointed the specific problem, we've exhausted the solutions, we've explored their desires, and we've explored the consequences. The intentions for the stage are use all of their ideal buying criteria that they told us about what they like and don't like about other providers to build up trust in the prospect's mind that we're the right solution. Take them through each of our pillars, where we'll be bridging the gap from where they are now to where they want to be. Some success conditions of the stage. The closer we get to the end of the presentation, the more brevity we want to have. For example, towards the end, if the prospect asks me a question, I want to explain it in as few words as possible. And the reason why I do that is because I don't want them to give them more things to think about or complicate their decision-making process. Also, at the end of each pillar, we want to ask for their buy-in. Examples of asking for their buy-in are you with me on that? Did I explain that correctly? Does that make sense to you? What questions would you might have on that? Do you see how this is different than what you've tried in the past? Some stage statements you can use are, a lot of dental marketing agencies out there are doing a phenomenal job of gaining presence online for their clients. But what we really focus on is the end metric. We want cash deals bought, and that's what we only care about. If you have no testimonials, no worries. You can say, I started in this niche because of my background. I saw a lot of dentists being underserved with the amount of leads that other agencies were getting them. We hear it a lot. Agencies that get inconsistent leads, not the right types of leads, ask you to pay these high retainers and then get you nothing. We've spent months asking ourselves how we can make those processes different. And then we came up with the following. Go into the rest of your pillar. And to build trust, a lot of what you're saying earlier was ringing bells in my ears because we actually had a client that was in a similar position to where you are now. They were doing, insert what the new prospect is doing, in other channels and just couldn't seem to get any action. We worked on our 3-pillar process to get them more patients, but more importantly, get them the right type of patients that convert. And now they've scaled the revenue 4x in the last 6 months. And now they're getting patient leads in their system every month that are highly qualified, that are ready to convert, rather than trying to chase them down. So guys, I'm not going to go too deep on the pitch here because we just did this on the previous module, but you can go back to that video if needed. But essentially, we have our 3 pillars, right? We have our first pillar, the second pillar, the third pillar. Each pillar is going to have a really cool name. Then after the really cool name, we're going to explain what we do, how we do it, and how it benefits the prospect based off what they said in the ideal buying criteria stage on what they liked about previous solutions. We're also going to future pace them to their goals and explain to them why it benefits them and how it's going to get them there. Now, another stage question here is you should have a question slide on your demo deck, which we went over in the last module. And before you go into the pricing, you say, if our program was completely for free, moving all the financials aside, do you feel like our program is a perfect solution to your XYZ bottleneck in the business? If they say yes, why? Ask them why. Guys, you need to get them to sell themselves back in, because right when you get them to sell themselves back in, you're going to drop the price right after. Super important here. So question slide, ask them if this is a perfect solution, financials aside. They say yes, ask them why, then go into the pitch. Then if they're not 100% yes, then we can objection handle here. This is where we start asking them questions. If they have any questions about the system, what they're fearful about, etc. We never want to move on to price when they're still in that stage of uncertainty. Then you want to ask something like we mentioned in the past, like, where do you want to go from here? Then when you move forward, you're going to send the invoice on the call, make sure that they square it away, get the agreement signed, and then schedule in their call for onboarding. Guys, if you have setters or closers doing this for you, you want to have someone on the team that does an ABR, which is an anti-buyer's remorse call. Meaning right when someone pays, they sign the agreement and they're waiting for the onboarding call. You have another member of the team that calls them up. Hey, John, I'm the ops manager here at XYZ company name. I just want to give you a quick ring and welcome you to the family. Oh yeah, nice to meet you, John. What are you most looking forward to when joining our program? Oh, why is that important to you? Ah, very good. And just ask them what they're most excited about. This is what we call the ABR. It saves us a bunch of deals because people can get cold feet between the time that they pay you and the onboarding call. So if you have a bigger team, you always want to do that anti-buyer's remorse. That being said, everyone, we're now wrapping up our overview of the sales process. I hope this was helpful. I know a bit of the scripting was different than the scripting that we presented to you in the intro and demo call stage, but this was done on purpose. I wanted to give you guys perspective. If I give you one script, you're going to only follow that script and you're not going to understand the reason of asking the questions. Again, guys, we have the intent stage, the situation stage, the problem stage, the exhausting solution stage, the exploring desire stage, and the uncovering consequences stage, and then the pitch stage. You need to understand why we're asking these questions because you can ask them in a million different ways. So I hope this has provided you guys some good perspective. Some action steps for this module. I want you to take out your notebook after you watch this video and try to write out all the stages without cheating. It's super important for you guys. You need to test yourself. You need to understand why you're asking the questions and what you're trying to get out of the prospect before you actually go onto the call. So what I want you to do is take out your notebook, write down each stage and some of the success conditions of each stage off the top of your mind. If you can't remember it, go back to the video, write them all down, and test yourself on it tomorrow. In the next module, we're gonna put everything into action. I'm not gonna be reading the script to you guys anymore without a real prospect. I'm actually gonna be role-playing with Matt, and I want him to give me some friction to show you guys how we can handle that friction in the sales process. So I look forward to seeing you in the role play.
So now you know exactly what you need to do. Approach potential clients through cold outreach, and then sell those potential clients into 5- and 6-figure deals for your agency. And all you have to do now is put those learnings into practice. Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg of all of the teachings that you get inside of Agency Accelerator. This is the 30-minute overview of a process that is detailed over 13 classes inside the program. And if you've ever tried to do anything online, you know that the devil is in the details. And that's exactly why inside of Agency Accelerator, we go into excruciating detail on what to do and how to do it for each step of the journey. And that's just for the sales phase, by the way. We have 5 other phases and 3 entire bonus programs. And most importantly, something that I haven't really mentioned on the other classes is that inside of Agency Accelerator, you get access to over 10 weekly coaching calls with industry experts. And that is a 60-minute Zoom call where you can ask a question on the exact issues that you're struggling with and get it answered live by an expert in the area. Now we have calls on agency operations, outreach, sales, service delivery, mindset, and much more. And when I say those are expert coaches, I mean it. For example, we have a weekly coaching call with Justin Lalonde just on media buying. Now, Justin is the instructor on the program Ad Architect, and you actually get that as a bonus when buying Agency Accelerator. And he runs a 7-figure paid traffic agency. And we also have John Gabb, who ran a very successful agency for years and now has a 7-figure coaching business that specializes in helping entrepreneurs perform at their highest levels through mindset training. Now, fun fact, both of them started from zero as students of the previous iterations of this very program, Agency Accelerator, and they went on to generate multiple millions online. The bottom line is this program just works. So all you have to do is just follow the path laid down inside of it. If you want to get access to 10+ weekly coaching calls where you can just jump on a call with experts like John and Justin and get your questions answered by them, as well as connecting with thousands of other entrepreneurs who are further ahead of you in the same online business journey inside of our exclusive community, I just want to let you know that the $1,000 launch discount for Agency Accelerator is still available. So make sure to save your spot now by using the link pinned in the description. And on that note, I will see you inside of Agency Accelerator.